what's going to be? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast is inspiring young rock and metal fans to discover new music and find a place where they can connect and feel accepted. Welcome to the show, everybody. And this is a guest that we've had on not once, not twice, but now 3 times on the podcast. It is our friend Kade from Throw the Fight with their brand new album Strangeworld coming out on June 30th. And this one, oh boy, this one is one where I'm so happy about this one. This is like 2 old friends reconnected. It's a beautiful thing. Before we jump into it, though, I want to thank sponsor for this podcast, which comes from Phoenix Fitness. So you guys know I love my concerts. I absolutely love them, and I love my mosh pits. I am like the mosh pit maniac. You guys know this. So whenever I go to a show, I want to go into a mosh pit, start at the opening band, and not jump out until the show is over with the headliner. So in order to do that, I need to be what I like to call mosh pit fit. So I got to make sure my body is prepared right and able to do this. So I need to have the stamina to go from beginning to end and not stop. I need to have the strength to deliver those hits, but also be strong enough to take some of those hits from those big dudes that are in the pit that are going to try and destroy everyone because it's fun. Also, hi, Nate. So I need to make sure I'm in the gym a lot. I'm in there like 6 times a week, 2.5 hours to 3 hours at a time, doing a lot of cardio, a lot of weightlifting, all of that good stuff. But I need to also make sure I'm preparing right and recovering right to make sure I can do that day in and day out, make sure I'm achieving on those fitness goals of being mosh pit fit. So that's where Phoenix Fitness comes in, because they have many different types of supplements that help you get mosh pit fit and other things as well, such as pre-workout, both stim and stim free. I use their stim free stuff because you guys don't need any more energy than I already have. I have more than enough. They also have different types of BCAA recovery compounds help your muscles absorb the nutrients after workout. Creatine help you build muscle, protein help you build muscle, whey-based protein, collagen-based protein, plant-based protein. I use their whey-based protein malt flavor or chocolate malt flavor because, the chocolate malt is good. They have different types of multivitamins and really anything you need to achieve your fitness goals and help get mosh pit fit, Phoenix Fitness has for you. So our listeners and viewers on YouTube can get 20% off use code CVP20 at fnx.com, link description of the podcast, say Phoenix Fitness. Now time for a feature presentation. Let's bring in Kade from Throw the Fight for one hell of a time. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and boys and girls listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. This is not my first time with this guy on the podcast. It's not my second time with this guy on the podcast. It's lucky number 3, and I cannot wait to talk to this man all about because this band has a brand new album called Strangeworld coming out on June 30th. And you know what? If I'm telling you that I've had this guy on the podcast, this is his 3rd time, and I'm super still hyped up about it, I mean, come on, you're going to be hyped up about it as well. Plus, every time I get to talk to this guy, his hair gets longer and longer and longer. I'm pretty sure by like the 5th or 6th time I end up talking to him, his hair is going to be on the floor, and I'm all for it. So please welcome back Kade from Throw the Fight to the podcast. So Kade, welcome back, my man.
Pleasure to be back, my dude.
It's great to see you back, and I'm pretty sure the hair that's on like the bottom of your head is still probably there from when we first talked back in like 2020.
Yeah, it's all still there. Thank God. You know, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
just flowing. Just, you know what? Hey man, flowing, having it be nice, and then all of a sudden you see some other guys in the band. It's just like, well, where's your hair? It's
Dude,
not there.
The rest of my band is all bald. Like they all shave their head or bald by now, and so I'm just trying to make up for everyone. You know, gotta spread the love.
You've got to have the locks of love for 4 guys in the band all on your own head. I mean, that's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. But I mean, when it comes to the luscious lock section for Throw the Fight, you're carrying that torch tremendously.
I'm doing my best. It's a dream that I've always had, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. Growing it out.
Dream come true, my man. So it's been a little bit since I last talked. I think the last time I talked to you, I think it was literally the day before I was set to head out to Blue Ridge Rockfest, and that was in September of 2021. So it's been over a year and a half. So how have things been going for you, man? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, a lot has happened in that time period. You know, we've got a lot of new music that we put out in that time. We recorded a new record. We're releasing singles off that record. Still a dad. So that's good. And yeah, dude, life is good.
That's good to hear. I was actually going to ask about that too. I was like, because I remember the first time we had you on, it was either your daughter was just born or just about to be born. So it was like right around that time. So how's everything going being a dad?
Yeah. So, okay. So you said September 2020. So she was born in August. So she was weeks since the last time. Yeah, dude, it's the best thing in the entire world. I love my daughter. It's the best. Every day is um different and unexpected, but a blessing. She's the coolest. And likes everything I do in music. And she was just at our last music video shoot, and she was a trooper, man. She just hung out for, quite a few hours and did her deal, had some snacks, and watched dad perform. It was pretty great.
I'll say, well, what else are you gonna do when your kid's 2.5 at the music video shoot? Just get her some snacks. She's gonna have a blast. But I also remember the last time talking to you back in 2021, where you were talking about just everything when it came to music. It was like the music that you're making, the music that you like, and the heavy stuff. She was all into that stuff. I remember it's like, yeah, you're playing some of the heavy stuff, and she's banging her head, having a blast. Turn it off, and it's just like, okay, there's a problem here. The music's off. She's not happy. We must fix this.
Yeah, she's a true artist through and through. But she loves our music. She loves heavy music. She loves dancing. She knows straight away when it's dad's band. And yeah, we did our video, and after multiple hours, I end up putting her in the car, and she's like, "Dad, that was a long song," and it's like the same song over and over and over, just however many times to complete the video. And I just thought that was hilarious. She's just like, "Dad, that was a long song. It was a great song, but a little long."
You should just tell her, "Hey, you think that's long? Try out this. This is called Dream Theater."
Yeah. Oh my God. Man, totally.
Get the response, "Dad, that was a long song too." He's like, "Yeah, that definitely was."
That's definitely a long song. Ours is just like thousands of times over and over to get the take, right?
Yeah, so 1,000 times and over get take, which is the equivalent of what, 2 Dream Theater songs, maybe 2. I don't know.
Yeah, we rented the space for 4 hours, so yeah, you do the math. It's probably like 4 songs.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd be lucky to get through an album that time frame, it's like you need to set aside a whole working day. It's like, nope, Dream Theater came out the new album. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this whole day off of work because I need to focus that whole entire 8 hours just listening to one album. How many times do you get through it? Once. That's it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
It's nuts, but I mean, just it still kind of makes me smile, the fact that over time, it's like, again, from the first time we talked, your daughter was maybe weeks old, and then all of a sudden it was continuing on, just seeing her personality come out, seeing her become more into music, and then all of a sudden now she's still that way, just keeps going and saying, "Dad, that was a long song." It just, man, it's just seeing the fact that your daughter is completely just like immersing herself into what you're doing and just really taking it apart and also making it her own thing as well.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't really ask for more at that point.
It's funny. I was just literally on the phone with my mom before this, talking about my daughter got up on her bed last night. She's got a little toy guitar, and she's just up there singing and dancing. And we got it on video. And I'm like, I told my mom this, like, I don't push her to do any of this. I don't, like, she just grabs this stuff and does this stuff and gravitates towards all these things. And it's just really crazy to see that, this is her mind and her doing, and it's not being like, "Oh, you have to go to the studio or go to the this music video shoot or whatever." And she just, I mean, even to see us play live, she just thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, so it's just crazy to see. And then what she picks up on and inspires her. It's just like right in front of you, and you're just like, wow, that's pretty. It's a miracle, really.
It is, but at the same point in time too, it's no matter what she would have maybe gone after, been like interested and picked up on her own. As a parent, you would have been supportive of that. But it's just
1,000,000%.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see the fact that the stuff that you're really involved with, the stuff that really gets you going, the stuff that is a part of your world, it's the stuff that she's just picking up, instinctively, and also making it her own. So as time goes on, as time continues to go on, as she continues to grow, it's that bond between you and her is just going to be even stronger. Not only based on the fact that it's the father-daughter bond, but just the similar interests in music. It's going to be something that's going to connect you both even stronger, even more tightly forever and ever.
1,000,000%. Yeah. It's an incredible gift. I didn't even think of it as far as like being a parent and those things, but being one and seeing her evolve and just become herself and picking up on things that my wife does and that I do, is just like, holy cow, this is, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I'll put this like personally, I don't know what that's like, but a bunch of my friends right now, it's like they're getting married, they're having kids. One of my buddies, Chris, when his daughter was born, I found out about the next day, and I'm like, I can't believe she's already a Polaris fan. He's like, yeah, I already played the Death of Me album to her, right? I'm like, yep, yes, I did.
Polaris is one of my top favorites. They're great dudes as well.
Oh my god,
They're awesome.
I only got a chance to see
so
him.
good.
I've only got a chance to see him once so far, and it was just. I'm like, it was Invent Animate, then Alpha Wolf, then like Moss to Flames, and then Polaris. Like, how do you lead up to that, and how do you take over and just completely, rule the show after that? And the Polaris goes on, and you're just watching, like, yep, that's happening.
Yeah, they destroy. I don't know if you knew this. So those guys came through the studio when we were doing Settle Your Sins, our last record, and they came through. At the time it was Think Loud. Out in Pennsylvania. They had an off day. I think they were on tour with Wage War, and they came through, and we ended up having them do gang vocals on our song Q&A, and then we jumped on and did a bunch of gang vocals on Landmine, where it's like, hey, and then we got to hear like multiple songs that they were coming out with on that record, and I remember sitting in the control room just blown away. And I was already a huge fan of their first record because Carson and Grant recorded their record, and they've done multiple records of ours. And just to have them come through, and we partied, and just great dudes, and I was like starstruck. But then to each kind of be like, hey, well, we need gang vocals in this spot. Sweet. Well, we also do. And it just like worked out that very day that we kind of finished what we had to do on each record. It was sick.
I do remember you mentioning something with Polaris the first time we talked, but I don't remember exactly. I remember when you said gang vocals, I'm like, wait a minute. I remember you said you did gang vocals, but I had not known that it was for Landmines. And I mean, I listen to that song a good amount, especially when I'm in the gym. So basically when I'm coming to a heavy lift and I'm hearing those gang vocals from Landmines, now I got to know, it's just like, hey, that's Kade and the guys also, helping out with this. Like, let's go!
It's Throw the Fight and Polaris. Yeah. I should try to look for the videos. I'm pretty sure they're saved in my archives. And that whole day of us, I think, there was probably 8-9 of us just standing around, and we'd go in and do them individually, and then it was as a group. And dude, it was one of amazing day. And especially it was just like so unplanned. And we were just, Grant one day was just like, hey, is it cool if the guys in Polaris come through? And we're just like, yeah. He's like, I'll try not to let it set back recording or whatever. And as I said, it just it was in each band's favor, and then we ended up just hanging out all night, and we just had such a blast. It was killer. I think we ordered like Chinese takeout and had it delivered, and yeah, it was wicked.
Oh man, that is awesome. But it's always those unplanned moments where stuff just happens out of nowhere, and you just roll with it. You see what happens, and you get stories like this. You get moments like this that you look back at. You can't believe that they happen. They still bring so many positive, feelings back. And it's just stuff that you think about the rest of your life or the rest of the time. You're just like, man, that was such a fun moment. And it creates a certain connection too with, whoever you're doing that with, like with the guys on Polaris as well. It's, you never know. And they come back to the States. I think I know they're playing Aftershock this year, so they might be doing something around the States. All of a sudden,
what happened? Gearing up for quite a bit of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so like all of a sudden, what happens when they start coming back around? I'm pretty sure they're going to stop in Minneapolis. And you're probably going to be like, well, I got to go to that show.
Yeah, they slam. They're incredible type band, incredibly talented dudes. And they just have like that perfect, I mean, at least for me, like just that perfect, heavy, tasteful sound. And, if Throw the Fight could do that, I would try to just do the same thing. We're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I understand that, because it's like when you listen to Polaris, it's heavy and it can be brutal, but then sometimes they bring like the cleans in, like when they do like you listen to like Masochist or the cleans on Vagabond or the cleans in Above My Head, especially those. It's just the mixture between the two works so well, and there's so many bands that try and pull off stuff like that, and some bands absolutely can hit on that differentiation, and Polaris is an example of one that just massively can do it every step of the way, whether the song is just absolute barn burner in your face or it's supposed to be more emotional, more melodic, more drawn out, or something that's going to match in between the two. They can just pull it off. So when you go see them live, you feel that.
Yeah. And I can attest to this. When we were in the studio with them, they can sing. Like I can't remember the singer's name, the who sings cleans. I want to say Josh, but I don't think that's right. And to get in the booth and be that spot on, and also just so dialed in, I was like, that's tough, you know. And you're like, that's the real deal, because there's a lot of fake it till you make it stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, in any industry, whether it's music industry, in business, wherever it is, there's going to be a lot of fake it till you make it stuff. But there's always going to be those specific instances where you can just easily tell. Okay,
it was just good to see.
There is just
You're like,
legit.
oh yeah, yeah. I just like had so much more respect for him after that. And I was like, damn, they're so solid.
Damn, now it's like, so when they are gearing up, because they're probably gearing up for something in the US, I know if they come to Minneapolis, I'm definitely going to get a text from my buddy Chris and be like, Kevin, please come up here. Please come up here. We have to see this show together. So I can already see it's going to happen. Polaris is going to come around. They're going to play Minneapolis. My
and we're
buddy's
going to
text me. Yeah. No, what's going to happen is I'm going to end up going up there. My buddy and I are going to go to the show. We're going to be in the middle of the pit. And while Polaris is going on, be looking around all of a sudden, either on side stage or on a balcony, I'm going to see you hanging out either on either side. And your daughter's going to be right next to you, just like banging her head going nuts. I'm just going to look at you like, okay, now it's all coming full circle. Now it all makes sense. And then we hang out afterwards and have a blast.
Right. Yeah, she might go. Yeah, she might. She's been to a couple shows now.
Been to a couple of shows, either just your shows or shows that are like other shows at the same time.
She's been to another show, and then she's gone to one Throw the Fight show, and she just thought it was, you know, amazing. We're hoping to take her potentially to, I think, Wisconsin. There's a festival. We're gonna go to a hip hop show. We're gonna go see Atmosphere, and then I think there's another one this summer that we're gonna sneak her into. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I want to just introduce her to whatever I possibly can.
Just like all of a sudden, yeah, if she allowed in, I'm not sure. Sneak her in the side door. That's what everyone does.
It's all about, you know, knowing somebody.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you guys have been around. I was saying you guys have been around quite a while, especially around the Midwest too. I know you guys definitely have the connections there, because I mean, hell, the only time I've ever gotten to see you guys play live was at Rockfest in 21, and
right.
Yeah, and I even looked. I'm looking at the schedule this year. I'm like, is there a date where Throw the Fights come by me at some point soon? I'm looking. I'm just like, huh, there's one that I might be able to make. And then I looked at the weekend. I'm like, out of all the weekends in July, you guys picked the one weekend where I don't have anything going on right now. Yes.
We were gonna play it this year, but we had scheduling issues between the dudes and I, and we were like, damn it, because it's a good lineup again, and it's just a fun festival to play.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I still remember the first year going there. It was just, I mean, you got the stage on the bottom, you got the stage on the top, you got the main stage, which is on the hill, and I kept bouncing between like the top stage and the bottom one. I really never was on the hill because I'm like, I don't really care for that. I want to be in front where everyone else is having a blast. I want to be as close as possible and just enjoy it to all hell. And I mean, just the amount of just people that were there, just happy to be there, especially in 21, because that was like the first major event for music, right, especially in the rock and metal, that was happening since the pandemic. So it was definitely something to be a part of.
Yeah, bro. I remember, and I have this on video. We pulled up early, but we saw a line, and then we saw the people camping, and I think we played the first day. And I remember them opening the gates, and we were setting up at our stage and everything, and maybe we just did sound check or something, and just watching everyone run, and it was like the whole world had opened up again. It was just like, it meant more than it ever did before. And it was just like, these people have been waiting for this, not just 1 year, but 2 years. And it was just unbelievable. And people needed it. You could just see the madness.
Oh yeah, there was so much madness going on in that festival. I remember like the opening day was just like, they had a couple of bands there. I was, my buddy and I, we went to go, like, there was a group of 8 of us, but me and my one friend, we were there, and we were sitting in one of the smaller, like, on the bottom stage. I think Royal Bliss might have been playing, and we were also watching the Bucks Suns game 4 on his phone at the same time. So like, keep going. All right, what's going on here? The next day, we was having fun. My friends in GFM played. I threw cupcakes at people. I had a blast. I think you guys played the second day, because I still remember
Maybe it was the second day. I think it was a Friday.
Yeah, because I still
Friday or
remember.
Saturday. Yeah,
I think it was Friday, because I still remember this. I remember going to see you guys play, saw the whole set, and then I jumped over to hang out with my friends because Corey Taylor was performing on the main stage. Ran back to you guys, talked to you guys for a little bit longer, And then you guys end up giving me like the signed like little tour poster thing, which I still have hanging up on the wall. I'm looking at it right now. I still have it hanging up. Ran back literally to my like campsite, dropped it off. There's a couple people at our campsite. They're just hanging out there. Like, oh, you're gonna hang out? I said, no. Bad Flower's still playing, and then Limp Bizkit is headlining. I'm not missing this. I grabbed like 2 beers on my 6-minute walk in and slammed them both. And I'm like, let's have some fun.
Yeah, totally.
And it was just the positivity that it brought back was just like, oh man, we needed this. And then,
dude, it had a different vibe.
Yeah, and then even continue to go to shows still. I'm just like, I kind of want to always have that vibe of just, we remember what it was like when this wasn't around, and now we have
when
it
you
back.
miss it. Yeah, when you miss it, and then ticket prices were a different price. Weren't so expensive.
Oh yeah, my bank account still hollers at me every time. It's like, but it literally is like, okay, so this tour is coming through. I'm like, but I'm going to this. I want to go to this show too. Or it's like, oh, but I just bought tickets for this show. Looks like I'm going to this one too now.
Yeah.
How am I going to make my rent this month? I'm going to figure it out somehow. But the Motionless in White tour just dropped with like freaking like Knocked Loose
Everybody.
and Alpha Wolf. Okay, I'm spending money on that.
That's going to be a banging tour. That's just going to be action packed.
That I mean, that's going to be somewhere I'm expecting potentially to get hurt at that show, and I am fully ready for it.
Yeah, definitely take out, some sort of life insurance.
I'll put it this way. Will I get knocked out? Probably not. Will I get knocked loose? Probably.
Yes.
Sam, I mean, I'm not expecting to go to see you guys play and all of a sudden see people come in flying fists of fury, but
no, you never know. I mean, we've definitely brought out some furious and had to stop a few fights from time to time, which is the guys call it, I turn into straight dad mode, but it's pretty crazy.
Really, and I know it's like even like with like especially listening to like some of the stuff you guys have on Strangeworld right now, especially going forward once it releases, like some of those breakdowns even there are definitely heavier to there's gonna be some pushy slammy mashi fun going on. Yeah, but you elbows. I'll say you've had to stop some fights before and just like go all dad mode. I kind of want to see that happen on stage at one point. Just to say I've seen Kade go full dad vibes on us.
Which I don't even do that dad vibe, but they were just like, holy shit, dude. Like, and yeah, everyone thought it was pretty crazy and pretty funny as well. Like, do you stop like mid song and all that stuff. And one of them in particular, like I had to get down. We just went straight down to their level and got in between the two dudes. And it was like, you got to leave, like get out and whatever, or like make up and hug. And they ended up hugging. And then I was like, no more of that. And then everything was cool. But yeah, we've definitely had people can get, a little wild, and definitely to your point with the newer stuff. I mean, we're dropping it way down and we're trying to just, see all the elbows flying and see what we can. I'm not trying to promote, violence, but, get in the pit.
I mean, there might be some top rope drop, elbow drop, some RKOs out of nowhere in the pit for this kind of stuff. It might happen. I know a lot of times where bands, when things are going on and like in the crowd, when there's fights going on where they stop the show, I still have yet to hear, but now it's finally happened, of someone actually jumping off stage to directly like address it. Like that is something I have never thought was even possible, but you pulled it off. Oh my God.
I know I'm kind of an idiot if I think about it, because it's just like, dude, I could have seriously just got like probably heard, like they don't care, whatever. But the thing is, I had the microphone and I'm just like straight out like talking to them through the microphone, so everyone's hearing it as well. And yeah, it just making them hug it out and tell them to knock it off, and different words obviously. And yeah, everyone chilled out. But I don't know. I just like ended up walking off the stage and went right down, and like my dudes were probably like, "What are you doing, dude? You idiot! You're gonna get hit."
Well, the other thing,
it all worked out.
Yeah. Well, one thing to think about that too, especially if there's a pit going on too, all of a sudden you jump in there. If you're the one that gets hit, everyone's going to turn and just go look directly whoever hit. It's like, okay, now it's go time. It's like, you made the ultimate mistake. I've seen that happen a couple of times in the pit where someone hits someone. It's like, now you must pay the ultimate price. And it's it's intense. I've seen, of course, some singers jump into the pit and have some fun. It's like, okay, we can have fun, but just don't hurt that guy. Why? Because he needs to finish the whole set. Like, we're only halfway through this. We need to keep this going. But
yeah, it kind of was actually even, I think it was like song number 4 for us. We came out hard, and but I could tell that they were, pushing each other's buttons and stuff like that. And I knew where it was going to go, and I saw where it was going anyway. And I mean, even though like people don't think like you're paying attention or seeing them in the crowd, like at least for me, like I'm performing, yes, and doing my thing, but I'm also trying to be locked in with people because I want them to be into it and get into our vibe, but then also seeing what may not should be going on and stopping it, if we have to.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially one thing we've seen from the past, especially from that whole entire like Astroworld 2022 thing with Travis Scott, was especially for artists on stage, it's you have a different vantage point than all of us. So if you're able to see from a higher spot, you're able to see if something's happening, and you're the one that has the microphone, you're the one that people are paying attention to. So if you stop it and are going to address it, people are going to be paying attention to you. There's a definite, there's a certain like innate responsibility there because you have that power to stop anything at any given moment.
Right.
So the ability to just continue to perform and do good and just give it your all, but at the same time, notice what's going on in the crowd, lock in with people, and make sure that they're continually like into that experience, but also having the presence of mind to potentially stop something from getting out of hand to the point where now there's a massive fight in the crowd and you didn't realize it right at first. Now you're trying to stop it. And now there's more people in there. It turns into a 20-person brawl. Security comes in and now the show is over because 2 guys decided to fight because they couldn't decide which guy had better shoes on.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's always like, some jerk usually it's at some point. And if there's booze involved, that it ends up getting crazy or whatever. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you want everyone having a good time and making sure everyone's safe. And, for me and us as artists, like that's kind of our responsibility as well. Like make sure everyone's having a good time and make sure nobody's being a jerk off.
Yeah. And especially with the stuff you guys coming out with Strangeworld too, especially some of the heavier stuff that's coming on there. I mean, I'm definitely expecting a real good time with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What do you like?
Honestly,
like
out of all of the tracks that were on there, the craziest thing is the one that stuck out to me the most was the one that was probably the least heavy, was Lost Without You. For some reason, that one stuck out to me more. But then I'm looking through the rest of my notes. I'm like, some of those breakdowns, I'm just thinking, my God, that's just a lot of fun. I'm just ready to go smashy. But for some reason, Lost Without You was the one that I just kept coming back to over and over again. It was weird.
That's cool.
That's cool, a good song.
Thank you, man. That song, that's going to be our next single. So that's, we just released Obey last Friday. And that's a heavy one. I mean, we pretty much came out of the gate with 3 more upbeat songs, I'm going to say. And then, we're going to drop Lost Without You. I think it's this month, May. And then also a video with it that we've kind of did a different take with a video as well. But yeah, that's crazy. It is part of the project, I guess, and it fits, but it's definitely like kind of its own identity as well, because it's more of that ballad stuff. I mean, let's be honest. But we sent it to just like our wives and people that were close to us or whatever, and I'm kind of the same response back was like, oh my God, Lost Without You's like pulls on those heartstrings, bro. And I remember even doing some of the vocals as I was writing it, and Jeremy was like, dude who we work with, and he's like, dude, are you writing like a Katz song right now? Because my solo stuff's like more sad. And I was like, hey, well, these lyrics and everything just fit this vibe or whatever. And it's definitely more of the, like I said, it pulls on your heartstrings to say the least. But that's cool, man. That's really cool that you kind of went back to that one after, there's some bangers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some bangers through and through on here, but that was the one I kept coming back to, and it definitely was part of the pulls on the heartstrings, but also just the whole entire mindset, vibe, and idea around, especially going through it from my standpoint, going through the meaning and just trying to figure that out for what I thought it was, and then really bringing it all in everything. It's just, I'm like just feeling these different connections on so many different things, so many different mindsets. And when I was listening to it, like Lost Without You, I can't remember. I can't remember what song. I think it might have been the song Lost in You by 3 Days Grace, when it came to just me thinking about a kind of why am I drawn to this? And I was drawn to that song because it just pulls on the heartstrings in a certain way about just connections with people, just different ideas with relationships, different ideas with love. And it's just, for some reason, it just really hits the way that it's created, the way that it's composed, everything around there. I just couldn't get enough of it. So I still remember looking through it because I was going through all the songs, and all of a sudden I kept listen through, and all of a sudden let's go back to the top. I'd go through 5 and I'd start back at Lost Without You, then keep going down. And I'd just jump back to Lost Without You, go down and start at the top, and just, I kept always coming back down because I'm just like, this song just hits in a certain way. Just the way that it's accompanied, especially when you open it up and it has a softer piano accompaniment with that consistent rim shot feel on the snare. I'm just like, okay, we are definitely getting something different here, but just the way those two put together, the way the melody worked alongside it, it opened up to pull on that heartstring, and you were just set and ready to go from the get-go just from that intro.
Yeah, wow, that's cool, man. Like, again, nobody's really heard it, obviously, because it's not out, but, like, Jeff's wife heard it. She went to tears. Before we even left LA, we sent, like, a rough pass, and she was like, holy cow. I sent it. My wife just heard it again for the second time a couple of weeks ago because we shot the video for it. She's like, which song are you doing? And I was like, this one. And she's like, oh, wow. Okay. And then somebody else. But I mean, obviously you went more in depth, and that's just awesome. I mean, I think the whole vibe of it's got a different type of verse than we normally do, and the downbeat stuff and the low vibe, but the chorus is huge, and just so simple. And then even that bridge, it does have a screaming part, but it's not like, oh, now it's a heavy song. It's more or less adding to the emotion, I feel. More of a background scream versus a in your face scream. But dude, that's crazy. That's awesome. And especially everything that you listen to, and then to go back to that ballad.
yeah, especially, I'm listening to the stuff that I normally listen to. It's like, I want to go smash, heavy, I'm ready to go and do something with this. But taking a listen, I mean, now even jumping into the bridge too, because I'm looking at my notes there when you do the unclean stuff there. And I love that kind of scream style, because the focus it wasn't on like a massive sentence or a massive stream. The focus with those screams was just on simple words and really hit with the ferocity. And I kind of have an understanding of now why I liked it, and especially where I was saying with it, and now why, when you guys sent it to your wives, and why when Jeff sent it, when you guys were in LA, all of a sudden it's why this makes so much sense to me and why this hits. And I'm going to go into a little bit more of a in-depth thing, because when I was going through, I thought about the song, and where it took me was kind of thought about dealing with a relationship from like either a distance or from the road between two people in that sort of a situation, whether it's a long distance relationship, or from the musician standpoint, someone's always on the road, someone might be at home. Then there's this distance between two people. There are a lot of feelings that come up at that time. Those feelings embed this idea of potential fear and anxiety, because you're not directly next to that person all the time. There's going to be this distance between you. So there's going to be this innate feeling of something could come up within that distance. And the song kind of talks about the need to do like these things for reassurance, and that the reiteration that, you're still together, you're still as close as you were when you left, and there's always gonna be that presence there with one another. So when you get to those screams, especially in the bridge, and the ferocity comes over there, it shows this the frustrations that people deal with when they're in that long distance relationship. That's why it comes across was so powerful. But then when you hit the chorus, and it's big and it's grander, we feel more of that wanting and yearning for that person, especially with your vocals as well. And it hurts in a certain way, but it's needed to really show more of that love and that pain that we feel in that instance, because it's painful that we are away from that person, but that pain shows us just how much we love and actually care for that person at the same time.
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, your interpretation. I'm still trying to learn. I kind of explained it to my wife where I think this song came from. But what I told her is, I was like, nothing's really like set in stone with it. Like, I'm not like, and I don't even remember writing this, to be honest. Like, I think I wrote it very, very quick, and it was just like I tapped in, and and then it happened. So I didn't even start trying to dig in and dive in to see where I even came up with this song. But I was telling her, I don't like directly say something, so it could be a relationship. It's any sort of like human connection. I feel, as a whole, whether it's you've lost somebody as a friend, just a friendship, or passing away, whether it's family, friend. I love your point on like a long distance relationship, or touring artist, kind of the heart grows fonder, or I mean, shit, even like a traveling salesman or whatever. I mean, I just feel like it's can be so relatable, emotional wise, that I don't think it's something that we've like ever done, and not that I set to do it. Like, honestly, I don't remember writing it, but it just has like some sort of connection. And like you said, at the end, when it kind of opens up and everything, it's like it's a hurting feeling, but also like almost a healing feeling or something like that. And then just how it came through after recording it and everything, it just, there's so many ebbs and flows of it in just a matter of like 3 minutes, and you're like, wow. And then you do want to go back to it. You're like, wait, what was that takeaway from that, and what did I miss out on, and stuff like that. So that's just cool. I mean, I'm really anxious to see where people are going to go with this one, because we did come straight out of the gate with some heavier songs, and then to kind of lay this one out there, and people be like, I thought the whole thing was going to be heavy, or whatever, or like, what's this stuff, but also I'm just like, I want people to of any musical genre that people like to give this one like 2 seconds and just say, okay, what's this about? Because I don't feel like there's a turn off moment where you're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, even think about this too. When Bad Omens in 2021 released the first single for the Death of Peace of Mind, people are like, "What is this? This isn't heavy like The Throne or like Glass Houses. What is this madness?" And then it turns out to be, the lead into an album that's completely all like very much artistically all over the place in many different aspects, but the composition is so well done to the point where now Bad Omens is one of the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm so mad that it's just not all heavy. Well, right. Not every album is heavy. We'll go back to Polaris with The Death of Peace of Mind. I forgot what song it is, but the song after Above My Head on the track list, that's a very soft song. It is not heavy at all.
And the thing is, it happens. You're right. Well, people kind of misconstrue heavy, as well. Like it's got to be, and it's like, for instance, Lost Without You. There's heavy moments, but listen to it lyrically, it's probably one of the heaviest songs you've almost heard. You're gonna be like, oh wow, that's heavy. So it's what version of heavy do you really want?
Yeah, instead of going like, the more sonically driven heavy of just grrr, it's just, we're going to go in more of the emotional heavy on this one. And you're going to
trying to tap into those feelings, bro.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, if it's the same sound over and over and over again on the album, it's just like, okay, then all of a sudden, by the time people get to song number 5 or 6, it's going to be the same stuff over and over.
It's redundant.
And over again.
Yeah, it's redundant. And yeah, and exactly. I mean, me personally, I would rather write more the Lost Without Yous, and I'm the more like experiment guy, or trying to push the envelope a little bit, and the other guys want to do more like the heaviness and stuff like that. So, and we always work in balance, just perfect. And but for me, just writing more singer songwriter ballad is like more my wheelhouse, right?
And even thinking about that too, it's by having that differentiation and having those different ideas and being able to collaborate on that, then you get something like Lost Without You to come forward, and you get those little snidbits of heaviness on there. Or then you get something like Lost in the Lives or Cover Your Tracks, where you're going to go with a much heavier sound, especially when you hit that breakdown, though. And it's going to bring forward more of that heaviness and that ferocity. But at the same time, there's going to be pieces in there where your vocals just, soar a little bit more sonically and have a little more of that emotional flow to them, while there's still going to be some heaviness going on in there. It's those kind of mixtures is what makes something great. So it's not just gonna be, an album of just 30 minutes of straight.
Right. Yeah.
Because I like that for one song, 2 songs, maybe all of a sudden get to the third one. If it's just continued, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Hey, watch me chug some more. You're like,
Be like, I'm just gonna sit there and be like, I like this stuff, but when you're gonna give it to me, 30 minutes just straight of just chugs, I'm probably gonna be tired by the time song number 4 comes.
I'm chugged out.
And song number 7 might be your best one ever, but mentally, I'm just tapped out at that point.
Yeah. I mean, writing an album is definitely a finesse and an art to itself, just within that. Yeah, and I think we definitely have that. It's definitely more of a upbeat record. I mean, let's be honest, every Throw the Fight record's pretty much balls to the wall, and we sprinkle our catchy melodies and hooks in there, but we're pretty much going full gas the entire time. But once in a while you gotta dial it back and give me a breather.
Yeah, because I even still remember when Sell Your Sins came out too, because you guys opened with Paper Wings on that album too, and just right from the beginning of that, I mean, that's all positive gas right there, right the get-go, and it's like, oh shoot, okay, we're already into this, let's keep flying.
Yeah, yep, and that was the point. I mean, we were just like, let's get after it, and it ends get after it, and then you just flip it over, or hit repeat again.
Just like,
you're
back
in it.
Run it back. We're doing this again.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was kind of just like, I mean, we're, I say we're like a punk band, basically. It's just like everything's pretty fast and upbeat and usually pretty short, 3 minutes, and we're a punk band, and we got a lot to be said in those, that little window of time.
Yeah, because I was even going through it too, because out of the songs that are on there, I think the longest song might have been like 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and this is a little interesting going through there, because like Cover Your Tracks was like what, maybe 240, 250. I'm just thinking this could be longer, but at the same time as well, do you really want to be longer when it's just gonna hit you with that ferocity,
right?
And then you're gonna go into a bay right afterwards, just gonna have it's gonna hit you with that. It's gonna be all gas, positive gas, but it's gonna hit you in a completely different way for that positive gas. Then you're going to Lost Without You, where it's like, okay, now we're going to get emotionally heavy on you because you're not expecting that. And then you're ready for the next couple of songs right afterwards. Like, okay, we're going to see where this goes, because we started all gas, no brakes. And now all of a sudden, now we're going to go all gas on the emotion side. Now where are we going from here? There's going to be consistent, want to see where are we going to continue to go? What's going to happen next?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a journey. I mean, it's got to ebb and flow, and like, we took a bunch of songs. I think we had like 35 songs and narrowed them down to a collection of like 10. And then we were able to track 7. And then we were tagging on 2 songs that we previously released, but they're getting remixed and remastered. They are already done, but we've thought those 2 songs actually complemented what we just recorded. So it wasn't like, oh, well, let's just add these because they're already done. But we were like, these actually fit lyrically in the content and the theme of this whole thing. It doesn't make sense that they're not on it. It's kind of, so we've got Wake Up and Snake Mountain that are part of the whole package. And I mean, they sound sick, they always did, but to have them remixed, remastered, and then sounding more cohesively through the rest of the album, I mean, it just makes sense. And yeah, it's still all gas, but there's definitely moments in pop wise and the choruses and stuff like that. And lyrically, I think it's some of the deepest stuff we've ever even touched on, which I think is cool.
Yeah, because even going through some, just, of course, me trying to go through the meanings of these, I'm like, you guys are getting into some deeper stuff in terms of, in my mind, where I was going with some of these songs is deeper into more of this grander state of the world kind of thing. And now when you're going and doing the remix songs, especially when you're ending with the remix of Wake Up, it's like, all these different things you're talking about, all these different ideas you're bringing to light through these songs. and you're going to end with the remix of Wake Up. All of a sudden, you're thinking Wake Up. It's like, okay, now's the time to just open those eyes once again and now take what you just went through and take what you just listened to, get a further understanding for it, and take it forward through the rest of your life. And I still remember seeing, again, back at Rockfest 21, I remember seeing you guys perform and hearing Wake Up. I'm like, man, that sounds like a good song. And now I'm like, wait, there's a remix on it on this album? All right, let's see what's going on here. And I was excited to hear it, and just right from the start of it, the way it was mixed in the start, I'm thinking there's definitely coming back with like that positive, just full gas positivity. It's hitting you right away. There is no doubt about it. But the best part about that is when you're trying to close out the album like that, and it's a remix track, but the positivity just radiates right through it. So you get that positive throw the fight feel to it, but at the same time, it lyrically connects so well with every song that's on there, especially with like Cover Your Tracks and Lost in the Lies. And it just, everything kind of flows through really nicely through from top to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad you can see that, and it does make sense. Cool. Yeah. I mean, we touch on a lot of different things, and I think even Settle Your Sins started, like Q&A was a big one. As far as it's like questioning systems and the world, and having that outlook of things, and again, it's kind of punk rock, but question authority, question everything around you, and just because media outlets say it so doesn't mean it is. Think for yourself type scenario, and I feel like a lot of people get away from that, or feel pushed in certain ways or believe certain narratives, and us as a whole, it's just kind of like open your eyes to everything, question everything, and there's some of that content sprinkled through those songs.
Yeah, and even as you continue on with this one too, like again, I'm thinking Lost in the Lies, that one especially kind of picks up where Q&A left off too. When you think about the media, when you think about just all these different messages being put through, and it's like, they might not, a lot of them that are not really the truth fully. There's some truth maybe to them, but they're always wrapped up in a way to push a certain agenda or push your mind in a certain way. So you go down a certain path in order to follow along with the idea of whoever's putting out that message. There's so many different pieces in there. And of course, then again, ending with Wake Up with the remix, it's like, okay, now all the stuff, you're talking about through the album, you're realizing some of the stuff, now you're waking up to it, and it's like, okay, now going forward and focusing in on, what's going to be important to you in your life, and not falling victim to all of these different people, all these different, media outlets or different influences that are trying to push you in a certain direction that's not beneficial for you, not beneficial for your mental health, because it is beneficial for that other entity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like take care of yourself no matter what, because if there's different agendas, narratives, whatever that are out of your control, it's not going to matter unless you're taking care of your well-being first. And too many times we get wrapped up in other people's and everything else that we lose control and just spiral in a sense.
And I think that another reason behind that might be too, is just because there's a lot of times where say, for our own being, say things aren't necessarily going as well as we would have liked them to be, or as well as we would have hoped. We might be able to people might tie themselves into something so that they feel like they have, like, maybe it's like the success of that might make what they're going through, might, mask some of that, or might make that better. It's not facing reality head on at that point. And as humans, we're all victims to that, and all fall victim to that at some point for ourselves, because when things aren't going well, we don't really want to have to, deal with the pressure of having to fix something in ourselves, because it's on us. We don't want to have to be the ones that deal with that failure. But if you don't deal with that up front, then shoot.
It's bad news. Yeah, I mean, and we're in a era where comparison is a killer of joy. You're constantly looking at somebody else's whatever life, and you don't know what's behind the curtain, but you don't feel enough when you're watching all that stuff, and you're just like, oh my God. And then, like you said, if you're not willing to deal with your own issues, then you just deflect everything that you're feeling onto everyone else, and then they're just like, oh man, I don't want to be around this, or whatever it might be. You're just, you're bad news. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the theme throughout the entire record is obviously it's Strange World, and we've been through a lot the last few years, and I think anyone can listen through this record and there's going to be something that connects with you and be like, oh my God, I get that. And also just mental health, and I mean, people feel like it's every 2 seconds somebody has to say that, but we're learning more and more about it and learning how to deal with it. And I think some of these songs definitely touch on, it's not directly saying it, but if you really dive in and listen, there's probably like some sort of familiarity and similarities going on where you're like, wow, okay, it is on me, or it isn't somebody else that you might see and not quite understand what they're going through. It might open up your eyes and lens to, seeing how other people are dealing with their own mental health.
Yeah, and the same thing too. I think one of the big things you put in there was just the fallacy of comparison that we all fall into, especially, take a look at the past couple of years, and when everything got shut down because of COVID, everyone was forced to be online, have to focus on that. So people that are constantly online and being able, like, okay, if you're looking like you're doing successfully and people are following along with that, those people are constantly following along that think that everything is all good in your life, everything is all grand, right, everything is going right, when behind the scenes that might not be the case. But because that's being presented to them, if you're looking at that and you're consumed by that, you're going to think your life might be a lot worse by comparison. But if you're going to constantly compare yourself, take a look at potentially what's going good in your life. Maybe like if you got a family that loves you and you have a family that you love, I mean, that's going to bring happiness to your life. You got friends that you enjoy hanging out with, whether it's, playing Dungeons and Dragons or, going out playing rec sports or whatever else you might do. Whatever it is, it makes you happy. Me, I've fallen victim to that too, where it's I take a look at certain things like, man, if I wasn't doing this, I could be doing this, or I could be doing this. But then I also take a look and say, well, am I doing what I enjoy? Well, I get to talk with artists on a podcast that I absolutely love to do. Right. I get to go to concerts and I get to go on mosh pits and I get to have the happiest times of my life in there. You know what? Even if at times, things aren't going great in my life, I still have those positive things. And my life actually ain't that bad when I actually think about it. It's actually pretty good. So I'm going to roll with it.
Right. And that thing gives you a purpose. Like it fulfills so many different things in your life that you don't really understand because you're in it. But you're also constantly comparing yourself to other people that are doing what you do, and it's not good enough. And then, or you're like, oh, well, if we would have done this or da 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 da, and then you never really look at, like you said, the good that you have around you. But sometimes you get in that cloud, bro, and you're not gonna see any of that stuff. But certain things got to bring you out of it, like family, friends, and it's all about your crew and who you surround yourself with. And if you're around toxic people, you ain't getting out of that toxic environment. You should, but if you're going to stay with that, it's a slippery slope.
And again, going back to Strangeworld, why the remix of Wake Up at the end of it is absolutely perfect, because again, it's kind of wake up to all these realities, but also understand that, if you're around those people that are not going to be the best for you, or going to be the ones that are going to be bringing more negative energy to your life and more negativity to it, find a way to find where those positive things are coming. What makes you
find your win, man. Find your win.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a brief walk or whatever it might be, it's just like find your daily win, and find your purpose. Even if you're worried what people might think, like, oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons or it's something cheesy. It's like, no, that's that. If that means and feels something in your heart, like, then that's what matters. Like, that's your purpose. That's your gift.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is cheesy. Yeah, if people
no, it's not. It's really hard.
I was gonna say I've never played it before. I know people that have. I know how much they say how hard it is. But when it comes down to it, it's it might be seen in media this way, or it might be seen in culture. How many people like playing? How many communities out there are playing it? And they don't give a crap about what these are. People that constantly play Pokemon on the regular, and it's just so it's for kids and whatnot. You should be playing it. Does it look like they honestly care? They're having fun with it. They're enjoying life. And similar to like us, we enjoy the music that we like. People look at me and they're like, you go to all those concerts? Why do you go to all those and go and be in those pits and just go crazy? I'm like, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to keep doing. I had to tell my...
Right. As long as you're healthy.
Yeah, I had to tell my boss, he's like, why do you constantly go in there? And I'm like, because it's fun. And that was my answer to him. I looked at him and I just like had my eyes go. I'm like, because it's fun.
Yeah, because it is. I mean, that's a self-expression. You know, all of that is, and some people need to do it more and lighten up.
Yeah, some people need to just do more of that self, lighten up a little bit and just understand what makes them happy and not fall into the fallacy of how it's kind of like it's not someone else's responsibility to make you happy. It's your responsibility
No,
to make you happy. So take the responsibility for it, take the initiative of it. It's going to be hard to potentially break out of those patterns that you've built up over time. I know it is because I've had to do that myself. But when you start doing that and you start getting those daily wins in there, whether it's something small like, say oh, I didn't have I didn't have sweets today, or I went for a walk, or I hit this PR in the gym, or I just took 5 minutes to listen to a song I like when I was having a bad day, and that's your personal win for the day. That's something you can continue to build on over and over and over again because you found something that makes you happy. You can build on that win and just keep going with it.
you got to build up your wins. You just build up your wins, even if they're small. You just have to do it. And it's tough to get motivated, man. And it's a discipline thing. I mean, I know myself, if I don't work out, even if I don't move for 20, 30 minutes a day, like I'm a head case. And I don't think enough people do that. I mean, you don't have to like pick up dumbbells and throw them around, but like go get some fresh air, take a walk, whatever. And what that does for your mental health alone. But, and especially when somebody's down in the dumps or whatever, they're like, oh, that's the last thing I want to do. It's like, you'd be surprised if you come back in 30 minutes, you're going to feel that same way.
Mm-hmm.
You're not. And it's just, and then it ends up being addictive. You're just like, if I don't have this, then, like I said, I'm personally a head case. And so, it's just like you have to discipline yourself, and, sometimes you slip off, whatever. You might eat some garbage food or whatever, but it's like, guess what? It's one day. Like, still live your life, but try to be the best version of you that you can without anyone's help, right?
Yeah, it kind of like, building on those wins, it increases the amount of discipline that you end up building up within yourself. And yeah, you're going to have those days where you slip up. I take a look at me, like when I was sick, I was out of the gym for 3 days, and it was first day, I'm like, okay, I know I can't make it because I was about to go to the hospital.
Thank God.
And then by the second day, I'm just like, I kind of want to just go back because otherwise I'm just sitting around. Third day, I'm like, this is my last day out of there. But I was so just like high strung. I'm like, I gotta fix something. So I went for a walk for an hour, and I'm just like, that's not enough, but it's something. Hell, even when I got my appendix removed after 2 days, I was so high, like strung out. I'm like, I gotta do something. I was such a head case. I went on a bike ride for 2.5 hours, just all across Milwaukee, bro. And it was like, well, why'd you do that? You just had surgery. I couldn't sit in the house anymore. I just couldn't do it. But it's stuff like that where it's just like you kind of get addicted to the positivity that those things that you find that are positive for you bring to you, and build up on, build up on yourself, and it makes you the best version of you. So you find the positivity of what makes you the best version of you and what can help you get to that point. You just kind of become addicted to it, and you want to keep going at it, whether it's working out, whether it's listening to music,
it ends up being a drug.
Whether it's creating something, they're just like, oh, I'm gonna cook things or bake things because this is what makes me happy. You might never know what's gonna happen. You could become one hell of a baker, up your own cupcake shop. If you like music,
you never know. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, you pick up a guitar, bing, bang, boom, and all of a sudden you're in a band. Or you're like me, where you don't know exactly what you want to do, but you find music to be happy, and all of a sudden, a couple years later, boom, I'm still running a
how many
episodes?
How many episodes do you have? Lots.
Over 400 at this point.
Dude, that's huge. I mean, again, just waking up every day and doing the steps just to commit to that is like, I commend so many people. So many people want to pick something up for, and think it's a good idea, and then they realize like that's a lot of hard work, and to be consistent with anything is really, really tough. And I mean, even if it's like an episode a week or a month, like people could slack off. But like you're on the train, bro.
Still on that. Awesome. I mean, and especially, all about that, being a musician. You guys are as well. So
you got to grind, man.
You got the grind, and of course, with Strangeworld coming out on June 30th, what else have you guys got going on the rest of the year so people can make sure that they not only are aware that, of course, the album's coming out, which it is, but also see you guys play live because, well, they should. Take it from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have another single, that Lost Without You track comes out, I believe, in May. The album comes out June 30th. There's going to be a spotlight track that we're doing with that. That's Sorry Not Sorry. Have you heard that track? And then yeah, we got our album release. We've got a few. I think we're gone the first 3 weeks of July, just doing a string of dates throughout the Midwest. So you can check out all those dates at throwthefight.com. And then yeah, we're hoping to announce some more shows very soon. Everyone in the world is touring right now, so getting on tours, finding venues that don't have multiple hold dates is quite tough. But we've got a couple good guys that are working really hard for us, and we've been getting pitched for tours and stuff like that. So we're rolling the dice. We're waiting to see what happens. Our last single, Hourglass, has gotten some radio success as of recent. So we're really stoked on that. And yeah, we're just gonna keep releasing the majority of the record. We have pre-sales out right now. This is the first record that we'll have on vinyl, so it's a huge bucket list for all of us dudes that we're gonna have vinyl. We had an awesome artist work on the art, and then we all selected the vinyl itself and how it looks. So it was really cool to be part of that creative process. Yeah, and then our label, Long Branch, has just been super supportive throughout this whole process, and they've just put so much time and effort into what we're building, and it's just nice to see, really, and to have all the resources that they have. It's definitely what we needed, and definitely for this record as well. So it just feels good, and we've been sitting on these songs for quite a while, and we've already got 13 that we're working on right now. So we don't stop, man. Talk about consistency.
I mean, you talk about consistency, the grind never stops. And yeah, I understand, of course, everyone and their mother's touring right now, so it's not easy to get on there. But of course, you're good. Like I said, you're gonna want to check out them, when they play live. So you want to check out Throw the Fight live, especially
just check out our dates. We're always announcing new dates. Follow us on Instagram, Throw the Fight MN. And yeah, we've got a whole album cycle, so we're gonna be out there grinding one way or the other, hitting the road.
They're gonna be out there grinding one way or another, hitting the road. So it's gonna happen. So now let's close out this podcast. Time to close the podcast with three things. First things first, Strangeworld coming out on June 30th. There's be a list of dates that you can see Throw the Fight play live as well. So what happens when you want to follow along with Throw the Fight? What happens when you want to make sure you get that first vinyl that they're going to be doing, or pre-order, pre-save, all that kind of stuff? See them play live. What's the best way to do it? Well, you got to follow them on social media. You want to go watch YouTube videos. You got to go stream the music. You got to go do all this stuff. Find where you can pre-order this stuff. Instead of having to go and search all that stuff up yourself, because I know that can be tedious. I know that can be annoying. Let's make it as convenient as possible for you. Go to the description of the podcast, say, find Throw the Fight online. Links and labels for everything is going to be there. So go and check it out, because I've got you all covered, and make sure you go and see them on a live date, because I know that one day when they come to Wisconsin, it's like the 1 June weekend that I have available. So am I going to try and make it there? Yup. So
we do have some Wisconsin dates. I'm just not sure how close they are to you.
I take a look at some of them, because I know a lot of your dates are kind of like further in the western part of Wisconsin.
Right.
The one I know for sure is probably the Janesville date, because that's like an hour away from me. So I'm like, okay,
oh, for real,
I can do that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we played there once before too. I'm trying to think back in the day. But yeah, we're trying to line up a festival date. Like I said, we had to pass on Rockfest, which would have been pretty sick. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We got a whole record. We got to push.
Well, yeah, we got a whole record, got to push, so we'll see what happens. Now it's time for number 2. Now, I was able to partially pay up for this at the first time I saw you guys from live, because I always said first round's on me, but because I remember you say you didn't drink, so I ended up giving it, I think I gave it to Ryan, because he's like, oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Tito's and Pump Boy, yeah.
Yeah, so this time, I still want to make that promise, because I still got to find a way to do first rounds on me for you for something. I don't know what it is, but at that show in Janesville, we will figure out something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because
sounds great.
Owe it to you. And now for number 3, I cannot end this podcast by saying goodbye, because Kade, this has been your 3rd time on the podcast. I want to thank you for that. And I do not want this to be the last time you're on the podcast, well, because I always have a great time talking with you. So we got to run this back again in the future. So this hell yeah, this can't be goodbye, my man. This has got to be, I'll see you later.
Sounds good, my dude. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, folks, that's my interview with Kade from the band Throw the Fight. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. I had a couple ideas where I go with this final thought. I could go with, talking about Kade with him being a dad with his daughter, just how his daughter's getting so into music just on her own, and just it's a beautiful thing. I'm not going to talk about, the concept behind Strangeworld, everything he did there. But what I want to remember, what's going to stand out to me, is when we talked about the song Lost Without You. And I kept going back to that one when I was going through his album after they sent to me in preparation for this podcast. And I kept going back to it, and yes, it is definitely the more ballad song on the track. It is sonically the least heavy on the track list, but it was probably my favorite of the whole entire thing, and it just hit in such a way. And what was beautiful about it is I'll still never forget this. It was Kade talking about how he sent it to his wife. How who was it? Was it Jeff? He said, yeah, when Jeff sent it to his wife, and his wife just absolutely loved it. And I mean, the guys are from the state of Minnesota, and they were in LA tracking it. So when I was thinking about that distance and being between there and hitting it, especially when you're in that kind of like a situation at that point, this song is going to hit absolutely heavily. So when it comes to having some sort of a long distance relationship, whether it is with a significant other or a lover, whether it is with family members like a parent or a sibling or someone else that's close, like a cousin, aunt, or uncle, or a grandparent, or if it's a friend that you just are not that closely connected with in terms of proximity, but you're closely connected with in terms of, just relationship wise, but that massive amount of distance is between you two. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of troubles that happen there, and a lot of, things that come up because those feelings of being separated that far, there's a lot of things that can pop up there. I still remember this was back in 2016. The girl that I was dating, it was September. I was going to be gone for 3.5 months. And the reason I was gone for those 3.5 months is because it was my senior year of college. I was going to be there for one semester. She was still in Milwaukee. I was going back to Minnesota. And I still remember kind of just listening to the song. It's just, there's a lot of frustrations that happen during that, like those times when you're apart from each other because you're not sure what's going on. You're not right there. When things are going well, you're not able to directly share that joy and that happiness with that person that you love the most. When you're going through frustrating times, you're not there. The person's not there with you to help you deal with those frustrating times and help you get through those, and vice versa. So the frustration comes through there, but you realize how much you actually care about that person at that point in time, and you're going to be willing to make it work because of how much they mean to you. And that's the way the song hit me. So seeing how the song has kind of hit other people that the band has sent it to in a very similar idea it was really cool to look at. I'm not going to lie. So I can't wait for you guys to hear that song. And it will be their next single, so hopefully it might be up by the time this podcast comes out, or it might be coming out real soon right afterwards, so make sure you go check it out. Make sure you check out Throw the Fight online, so go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Throw the Fight online. There's going to be links, labels for all their social media accounts where you can go watch their music videos, where you can go listen to the songs, where you can appreciate the album, where you can go get the vinyl for this album for Strangeworld, which comes out on June 30th, where you can go see me at a live show. Come to the Back Bar in Janesville, Wisconsin on July 8th, because I'm going to be there watching, man. Gemini Syndrome's playing too. Gemini Syndrome's good. So come and join us for that. On top of that, make sure also subscribing to the Chord Progression Podcast here on YouTube, or follow along with us on Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon. Hit that subscribe button right now. Hit it. And I want to thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Well, make sure you're also following along with us on Facebook and Instagram. I think we're still on Twitter too, but Facebook, Instagram, reach out to us on those platforms if you want to talk. I'm always here. I'm the one that does all this stuff. So thank you for being a supporter. Again, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Also, thank you to Phoenix Fitness for supporting this podcast. Remember, using the code CPP20 at FXS.com, link description of the podcast. Thank you, Kade. Once again, third time's a charm. Third time ain't the last time. We're going to be doing this many more times. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Who knows? We're going to do even more of these. So on that note, that's it for you guys. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. It's big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.